So, Eric, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background? And I know that I feel like you're qualified to look at any kind of conspiracy land evidence, whether it be UFOs or Bigfoot, and tell us your opinions. But can you tell us a little bit about? I know you have been so deeply involved in UFO stuff for probably decades, but you did recently switch some of your focus to the world of Bigfoot, right?
Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago.
But you got in deep now, haven't you? Gotten in deep. You've been really like.
Yeah, I went real
focused.
deep, and then the last few months, so I pretty much haven't been doing any research on anything. I've just been kind of laying low because I'm kind of burned out. Do you ever get burned out? I mean, I'm imagining
all
sometimes.
the time. Yeah, all the time. Sometimes I just need to go and not disconnect for a while.
Yeah. You know? So I've been in the disconnect mode the last month or two, but I'm getting amped up to go back to some of these spots in Montana and Utah and Idaho and there's California and Oregon and Washington State. I mean, there's many areas where I believe personally that there are Bigfoot. I mean, that's just my belief. I've talked to people.
I'm glad because it's good. I don't want to just have skeptics look at this footage and offer their opinion. If you actually believe that Bigfoot is probably real, then even better for you to look at this footage and tell us, do you think it's a real living, breathing creature or something else? But
okay. And the other thing real quick is, to me, I've learned quickly that the Bigfoot community is a lot like the UFO community. I'm
learning that myself. There's a lot of similarities, right?
There's a lot of hoaxers. There's a lot of people that want to be popular, that they call them blob squatches, where they'll have a video or a picture that's all blurry and shit, and you can't even tell really what it is.
Yeah.
But they make a 30-minute video about it, and everybody just kind of co-signs everybody's story. It's kind of, I don't know, I can't get into that stuff.
A lot like the UFO community, they show a video of lights in the sky, and then they have a 30-minute story about, well, I saw it. I could see it much more clearly with the naked eye than you see on the film, and it was definitely saucer-shaped and this and that. Yeah, a lot of similarities between these two communities.
Well, did I ever tell you my Bigfoot story, or did you hear it? I think I told it on camera.
I did hear the story. So you believe that you had a personal encounter with Bigfoot, and that's interesting. And I thought the story was pretty interesting. But
I want to go back to that spot, Happy Jack, Arizona. It's about 7,700 feet up in Arizona on the Mogollon Rim, which you've probably heard of the Mogollon Monster. I don't know if you've heard that term.
Yes, I have. Absolutely, yeah.
Many, many stories about Bigfoot sightings and experiences on the Mogollon, and even Clifford Mahooty, who's passed recently. A lot of these stories I try to verify through the older guys and that I trusted, and unfortunately, half of them have died in the last 6 months or a year.
A lot of them are passing away. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Rest in peace, Clifford Mahoney.
Yeah, but but that night that we had, the night that we had that UFO sighting where that orb, I think I've sent you that. You might have seen that video that we filmed. But I call it an orb because it didn't appear to have a solid shape to it. It was just a massive glowing ball that was just kind of it didn't look like a solid object, although who knows, it could have been, but it was just floating and it was huge. It was about maybe a couple hundred, 300 or 400 feet up in the sky. But that night after that was about 8 o'clock at night when we saw that. And then we were seeing stuff in the sky that could have been UFOs. I don't think there were satellites. The amount that we saw, I don't think could have been our technology, because I can't imagine why we'd be flying that much technology on the Mogollon Rim.
In the middle of nowhere,
it just didn't make sense to me. But I can't tell you for certain it's aliens. But I certainly think that anyway. But that night, later that night, it was around 10 or 11 o'clock. We were hanging out at the campsite. John Polk, your friend there, Arcturus Ra.
Arcturus Ra, yeah.
And his girlfriend, I forget her name off the top of my head. But anyway, we were hearing sounds in the forest, probably about 50 to 75 yards out. And every time I tried to record with my cell phone the sounds that sound like chatter, like maybe 2 or 3, whatever it sounded like chatter. And every time I tried to record it, it would stop, which was kind of trippy. And the
Yeah,
third,
that's a little bizarre.
and three times it happened over a period of not very long, like 15 minutes. And then finally it just stopped altogether. But then it was the next day, they left. Raw and his girlfriend left, but John Polk and I stayed. And then that's when we had that visit, late at night. So yeah, you know what I saw?
That'll pique your interest for sure. But you've been.
Oh yeah, I mean, it got me totally interested. I mean, that was it. Honestly, that was it. That was what got me going. After that, I thought, I got to look at this because this is real. I mean, it's not like,
You've been connecting in with the whole Bigfoot community, so I'm not as connected in. Can you give me a sense of what most of these Bigfoot people think of Todd Standing and his, let's call it, quote, research?
I think some of them just kind of stay neutral, but the one guy that I trust that's probably the best Bigfoot guy, his name's Duke Sullivan on World Bigfoot Radio.
Yeah,
if you really want to have the, in my opinion, the best, most knowledgeable Bigfoot guy on your show, I can arrange that. Duke Sullivan.
Yeah,
guy.
I would love to. I've heard some of his stuff. I would love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so he was.
So opinions are mixed about Todd Standing and his so-called research.
Yeah, but this Duke Sullivan isn't buying the guy, and here's how I believe. Well, it's like anything. It's like, okay, let's say somebody comes out with a story. We'll just Todd Standing, for example. You look who he aligns himself with. Who are his people in the community that he kind of co-signs, we'll say. And that guy Meldrum, Dr. Jeff Meldrum.
I'm aware.
And he kind of co-signs that guy's stuff, but the real experts, in my opinion, in the Bigfoot community think that Meldrum is like a plant.
Yeah, and I have a source that tells me that Jeff Meldrum was paid to be a part of the documentary, and I have a bunch of calls and emails into Jeff Meldrum because something that I found incredibly suspicious is that Jeff Meldrum is in this documentary, sort of like you said, to add credibility and co-signing. However, he doesn't comment on whether he believes that footage is a real living, breathing Bigfoot or not in the documentary, though Todd Standing drops his name every chance that he gets. And I believe that's to add credibility to it.
Yes. Todd Standing, okay, I don't dislike the guy, but I don't like him either. I could tell he's not a real good manipulator. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to a lot of his stuff. He kind of reminds, he's like the Donald Trump of Bigfoot. I mean, he appeals to stupid people.
Yeah, you might be right.
For saying that, but yeah, he's got a lot of followers. And okay, I'll say this about Standing because of where he lives. I think if I had to guess, he probably has maybe either seen a Bigfoot or seen evidence of a Bigfoot, whether it be footprints. Now, broken trees is one thing, but the tree structures that I sent you pictures of, which you're welcome to put on your show that you do, you and I.
Yeah, I'll include those. Sure, yeah.
Those, I saw those in person. I mean, these trees are huge, and they're stuck up in other trees off the ground with no roots anywhere in the area. They were put there. There's no way that they fell there. I'm just telling you. I mean, I was looking for every reason I could to debunk how these things got there. Not that I wanted to go there to debunk it, but I'm just thinking in my own mind, I've got to be able to convince myself that there's no other possibility, you know what I mean, that this happened any other way than somebody put it there. And these things, but anyway, I don't know that Standings put out a lot of tree structure pictures. I haven't really looked into seeing.
I've seen some, and he's fond of showing people a break in a tree and saying that the Sasquatch did it without any evidence or proof that it was actually broken by a Sasquatch. It's just he does. Yeah. It seems to me that he does his research by proclamation. Like, that's got to be done by a Sasquatch. Couldn't be any other reason, and he has no evidence to offer other than his very strong opinion that it must have been a Sasquatch, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I haven't really done a deep dive into him. I've watched how he talks to his people on his YouTube channel. I've looked at his video. Personally, I can't imagine that video, those pictures of those supposed Bigfoot, I can't imagine that they're real because I just don't. He would be the only guy in the world, in the history of the world, that's ever recorded a picture that good of Bigfoot. Think about that for a minute. How is that even possible? I just don't believe it. I don't believe it's possible. I think if they were as easy to record as what he shows on his deal, then other people would have recorded pictures as well. He kind of puts himself out there like he's a superstar, like a hero,
of the Bigfoot
a hero.
World. Yeah, he's discovering Bigfoot. He's working on the biggest discovery in the universe that will change human history. He's a hero. Kind of like the people in the UFO community. Always make yourself the hero of the story, right?
Right. And
back to the footage. I haven't told you, just so the audience is aware, I haven't told you or anybody else that is offering their opinions here what I think of the actual footage, because I don't want to influence you. I want to hear your thoughts on each of them before even what I think about them. So I can we can go through them.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can go through these one by one, and you can. I'm going to just play them without the sound though, because we don't need the music interfering with your voice or whatever.
Okay. All right.
But we'll play this one. I called. There's two with the faces. This one I called Bigfoot Face 1, and this is one of the money shots from his documentary, which he has been profiting from, not only from the documentary, but he is continually reusing this footage on his monetized YouTube videos.
Yeah. Okay, I'll comment. First of all, I couldn't tell you 100% for certain that that's a hoax. However, my intuition tells me it is. And the reason why is quite frankly, it's too good to be true. That's just my theory on that. And I don't think it's my opinion that it's possible to get a quality video or picture of a real Bigfoot that good. I just don't think it's possible. I think that these creatures are real. I don't know what they are. I don't know that they're flesh and blood, or they're a combination flesh and blood and interdimensional or extra. I don't know what they are exactly, but I do believe they're smart enough, and they have a certain sensory maybe about them that they wouldn't allow themselves ever to be photographed or videotaped like that. I just don't think that he's smart enough to trick him. That's why I'm saying he puts himself out like a hero. Like, he's this only guy ever that was smart enough to figure out how to trick these guys into recording them. I just can't buy it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I just think it's fake.
Okay. Well, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, fantastic evidence or fantastic hoax. Those are the only two possibilities, major possibilities. And we can show the next one, and then. But
I wanted to believe, just so you know, when I first saw
I did too. Somebody before the documentary came out, somebody sent me a still of that, and I went, wow, that looks great. Where's it from? And then they explained it to me, and here we are. But we'll go to the next one, which is again face footage, and of course I'm calling this project "Is This the Face of Bigfoot?" He's got multiple faces of Bigfoot, apparently. And here is the second one, which again depicts apparently the faces of Bigfoot. Another money shot from the documentary.
But that one looks completely fake to me. That one, the other one, I wouldn't bet my life that it's fake, but that one looks fake to me. I just not feeling that. That one there, neither one of those two am I feeling those at all. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I honestly, no, don't, no.
Do you have any idea how he could have faked that? I know you don't have like a background.
That looks like a mask or a costume mask or something that whoever made it. He plopped it over his face. It covers his cheeks, but whatever mouth that is, that's whoever the hoaxer is. That's the hoaxer's mouth. That one you're showing me right there. That one right there looks like it's like he just slipped over the top of him some sort of pre-made costume mask, but it's a good one. It's damn good.
Generally, that would be called like an open jaw mask or something like that.
Yeah,
sure.
Now, I heard that his girlfriend or ex or whoever she is, it was a makeup artist. I don't know if that's true or not.
Sister, yeah. There's reports that his sister was a makeup artist and did some special effects or something like that. He denies that, however.
Yeah.
I've seen him in interviews denying that.
Todd's an interesting guy. He's kind of quirky, and I'm not talking shit about the guy. I'm just saying he's different. He's a different kind of dude. He's just kind of strange to me. He just strikes me as the kind of guy that wouldn't be legit. That's just my.
Yeah.
I mean, I got that feeling about Corey Good from the very beginning too. I mean, when I watched the very first time, I didn't even really follow David Wilcock. I never believed in Wilcock to begin with, and I didn't even care much about Wilcock or Corey Good in the beginning when they first came out with that Cosmic Disclosure, because but then they became popular, and then that's when I started looking into it. And I was trying to figure out, how could I, but yeah, I mean, some of these guys like, Wilcock and Good, and if you look at their personalities and how they conduct themselves and their mannerisms and how they talk to people and their tics and their tells, and they all kind of have the same kind of, they kind of fit into this little category of oddness, I don't even know the right word to put for these guys, but these, in my gut, I just don't feel, but it's sad because, first of all, I do believe UFOs are real. I don't know that reptilians are here, or Greys are here eating babies.
Yeah.
I couldn't sign up for that, but I could tell you that I do believe in Bigfoot. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that it's real. I've seen enough, I've heard enough, I've talked to enough people. As a matter of fact, did you know the FBI did a report about this many years ago?
About Bigfoot?
Yeah, I would put that in your notes. That would be something.
I have that. I have those files probably.
And I have a friend that has a friend that works in the FBI, and he doesn't have anything to do with UFOs and Bigfoot, but I verified that the report is real, so it's not a fake report. So
Sure.
I tend to believe that the government, just like they know about, UFOs and what they know about aliens, maybe.
Yeah.
Rick Doty's a friend of mine, and I don't think Doty's lying, but it is hard to, if I didn't know Doty and it's hard to believe some of the stories that he tells. Doesn't mean that I don't believe them. It's just that they're hard to believe.
Absolutely. Well, we've got one more face of Bigfoot to show you.
All right.
This one is what I called the blackface video. And again, we're trying to get to the proof of, is this the face of Bigfoot? This is, again, footage from Todd Standing that he says is the face of a Bigfoot.
Well, it would be so easy just to put something there and just record it from a distance. You know what I'm saying? That one right there, it could be just something, it's not evidence. I mean, I guess it could be, but it's not evidence to me. You know what I'm saying? To me, evidence would be one moving, like the Patterson Gimlin. I personally think that's, I know maybe you don't believe that it's a real video, but I personally believe it's Patterson Gimlin's a real video.
No, I'm still on the fence of that one. Yeah, I'd love to believe it was real, but this one I thought was the weakest of the face of Bigfoot videos. And I guess I also have a problem with the complexion issue, because Eric, if you look at orangutans in nature, they all have the same general skin color. If you look at chimpanzees, they all have the same general skin color. Gorillas all have the same general skin color. So if he's filming a real species here, why does one have black skin and the other have white or peachy skin or light colored skin? I mean, certainly there'd be some variation and differences, but not this drastic to me.
You've got three different pictures you've shown me so far, and they're all three completely different.
They look like they could be completely different species. That's the problem that I have. They look like three different animals or types of ape, I
think this is where Todd's ego, and I'm speculating, I think this is where Todd's ego got the best of him. If I were going to hoax something like this, for example, I would have stuck with that first image
Mm-hmm.
I would have, and then maybe if I was going to try to build up my portfolio of fake Bigfoot videos, I would have used that same image, but maybe in a different way. But by him introducing the image 2 and image 3 that you've shown, that just to me drives the odds of those being real even further away from the truth. Because what are the chances that one guy is going to not only film one but 3 of them that well? I just don't believe it. I mean,
And apparently 3 different species of or subspecies of Bigfoot. And I wanted to show you something because I thought I nailed how he did this specific video, because I have an extensive collection of masks and weird things. And when I saw that, I went, "That I think I have that mask." And here I'll solo myself. I'm going to show you this.
Oh, there it is. I love it.
Look at that. Isn't that? Yeah. If you wanted to show a black-faced gorilla-like creature obscured, and only this part of the face is shown in that video, where it's black, and you see one eye blinking, this may be a good way to do it. You know, who knows? But I went running into my garage full of boxes of old masks, and I thought this is a very good possibility for how one could film something like that, right?
Yeah.
The broad ridge of the nose, the black skin, and I even went and tried to line up the brow ridges, but I don't no longer think that he used something like this. I think that one is a man in blackface. That's it. Just black makeup and obscure it as much as possible. You know, but we have one more video to look at, which is, I called it the Running Man video, I think. And this one does not show the face of Bigfoot, but apparently shows a Bigfoot running up a mountain. So
yeah, I want to see this one again.
Yeah, I'm going to share that one, and I want you to tell us your thoughts on this one. And again, this is from Todd Standing's Discovering Bigfoot. This is part 4, Running Bigfoot, of his money shots. And this is a crouching Bigfoot, also part of the same video. Apparently,
neither one of those videos are very. They're not real. I mean, they're not convincing.
No, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it could be anything off in the distance.
Here's the thing. I think Standing appeals to people that are not real educated on the topic, because if you're, to me, like the real Bigfoot researchers that I've talked to and the research that I've done so far, I don't think it's possible to capture Bigfoot in these modes that he's showing, like running and crouching down. And then he said, I think he said that it was 8 feet tall, or it was 600 pounds in that one video, that one right there where it's crouching down. I mean, where's the evidence that, I mean, I don't know that how he can even justify. I don't see how he could prove that it's 8 feet tall and 600 pounds. I mean,
well, again, it's research by proclamation, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, shit. The chances of a guy getting 5 different videos of a Bigfoot in a lifetime, it would have to be almost a miracle. I mean, it gets into.
The problem that I have with this one too is
show 2 videos, or 2 or maybe 3, but to go, I think he tried to milk it a little too much, and I think it's backfiring on him. That's just my take.
Yeah, and the problem that I have with this video in particular is the framing of it. It seems convenient that we don't get a full view. Well, here in the crouching part we do, but in the running part, we see like half a Bigfoot body through most of it, or just a pair of legs running up a mountain that appear to be dark. I mean, that could be a guy in a suit. It could be anything. So that one was the least convincing of the 4 videos to me. The first one being the best. Let me ask you a question,
Stephen. Let's say you were Todd Standing, you're out there, let's just pretend that this was real, and you're seeing this creature and you're filming it from a distance. Okay, let's talk about the picture of number 1 or number 2 or number 3, one of those pictures. And you believe, you're looking at it and you're on it. You're sitting there, you're hiding in the bushes, whatever. I mean, in my mind, I don't know, would you not stay there until either your battery died, you ran out of film.
Exactly. That's another portion.
I mean, I would
another
record
problem.
that
Yeah.
You got to record that thing until it moves again, or is it going to, I mean, for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes. That's the chance of a lifetime. But yet he only shows these pictures and these videos for what, less than 2 minutes, right? Less than a minute.
Yeah. And another thing that I found a problem with is the face videos, those, if they're real creatures, appear to be just sitting there very docile, not threatening. So to me, if you're really filming that, why wouldn't you walk closer to it with the camera, right? Try to get it moving or running off if you got too close and you spooked it. These footages appear to be very staged and also conveniently obscured. Each of the face videos, there's something, leaves, sticks, tree branches, there's always something obscuring the image, and it seems very convenient that he's got, and there's also multiple shots. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but I found that many people are claiming that he basically did multiple takes of each of these videos, because there's other stills where the sticks are moved and there's different things obscuring the faces, and that would indicate that he did multiple takes and he doesn't realize you can't take stills from the other takes and publish them because they'll differ from the ones in the documentary. That's a problem. Huge problem.
Yeah. Shit. Here's the other thing I heard him say recently, that you come to my house or whatever.
That's his business.
I'll show you a Bigfoot.
That's a bold statement. Isn't that a bold statement?
Yeah, he says you'll see a Bigfoot.
Eric, I don't know how much it is, but maybe we should send to you.
I'm thinking about it. Actually,
wouldn't that be a trip?
I got my passport. Well, I could get to it. He would allow me to. You know what? He does. He is selective who he lets go there. You know that, right?
I did not know that. Yeah. So he tries to keep the skeptics out, right?
Yeah, he kind of screens his people, just like that other guy that I sent you, that other tweet the other day, that Dr. Johnson kind of screens out who he allows.
Well, look, I'm not sure if I could afford to help, because I have heard different things about how much he charges people. One person told me that it's like $1,000 he charges, and it's all like crystal hippie girls from California and stuff that pay him and go hiking with him. I don't know if that's the case, but we'll look into it and see how much does he charge, right? Let's see if we can do that. Because if we can send you, and then you can come back and tell us exactly what you got for the money. He's literally promising people a Bigfoot encounter for money. I have a big problem with that.
Yeah, I have that statement right there is what totally blows his cover, because it doesn't work like that, bro. You know that. I know. I'm just telling you. There's no such. I just don't believe it. There's no way that he's got some private area where the Bigfoot let him record and that he could bring people to see him. The chances of that are like 1 in a
it's
billion.
Pretty out there. It's pretty out there.
And if there's people out there that actually saw Bigfoot while they're hanging out with Todd Stanley, where are they? Why are they not out there talking about it? Where's the testimonies?
Very good point. I did not think of that.
Dude, if I went there and I saw tree structures and I saw something that I thought was a Bigfoot, or I heard sounds, in other words, if there was evidence that convinced me that maybe there really is a Bigfoot here, I would be fucking on your show talking about it big time. I would be posting about it.
I have not put, I put out a call on my show. It's a long shot, but saying, hey, if you've gone on one of these hikes with him, then contact me. I want to hear about your experience. Do you feel like you got your money's worth? Did you really encounter a Bigfoot as he promised? Crickets. But one thing that was interesting too is one of his other big something that he calls evidence is he has videos where he puts apples out on a log. And then he's like, see, the Bigfoot are taking the apples. There's one Bigfoot over here, and there's another Sasquatch over here. There's 3 of them. And then off in the distance, you see an apple sort of disappear from a tree, and he's saying that's a Bigfoot. I found it interesting that a random YouTuber I found did go hiking with him. And one of the things was that there was a Bigfoot glove in the guy's back seat of his truck. And I instantly connected that to these various videos of him claiming that Sasquatch is taking the apples, even though in those videos they're so blurry and unclear, you can't clearly see a hand of a Bigfoot. But if I was going to fake a Bigfoot taking apples off of a log of a tree, I would think having a Bigfoot glove would be a good way to do it, right? You crouch down behind the log, you reach up with the Bigfoot hand on, a glove on, and take an apple. That's very suspect to me. Why is this guy who claims to be filming real Bigfoot creatures have a Bigfoot glove in the back seat of his truck? That's a problem for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also because he's in Canada, right?
I think Canada, British Columbia, yeah.
Yeah. I think that for whatever reason, in his mind, and it seems apparent that he's able to get away with things. Well, I don't know if he's actually getting away with anything, but he's able to. He's able, you know what I'm saying? He could run some more shenanigans more so than if he was a U.S. guy doing all that, like in Washington State or Oregon or wherever.
I think he'd have more problems. Yeah, because the problem becomes international complaints. Like, what happens if, let's say, a bunch of people from California go up to British Columbia, pay him whatever he charges, and they feel ripped off? Who do they report that to? They're American citizens. So there'd have to be there'd have to be international cooperation to investigate the situation and decide whether criminal charges are warranted or, who knows? You're right. It complicates everything.
Well, you know what would be interesting too? If he was doing this, that would be pretty ballsy. But let's just say he's so confident that people are going to see the Bigfoot when they come to visit him. Maybe what if he was hoaxing the experience? And tricking these people into thinking that they're seeing this.
He could very easily have a Confederate. When I was doing magic shows, we called that a stooge. You have somebody working for you to help you trick the audience. I used to do a lot of weird stuff with stooges. I'd have a guy come up on stage and I would do a card trick and I would touch him a lot. He was in on it, but the whole thing was after the card trick, and I would make it very obvious to the audience that I was touching them a lot. Stand over here. No, stand over here. Smile real big. And the audience would reconnect later that I touched him a lot. After the trick and he sat down, I would say, here's your wallet. Here's your keys. Here's your credit cards. Here's your cell phone. And the audience would get a huge laugh out of it, not realizing that was all a setup. I didn't. And it was great because I got credit for being this expert pickpocketer. But the reality was that stuff was just in my pocket from the beginning of the show, and that guy was in on the joke, He could just as easily, this guy could have some guy in a suit making Bigfoot noises 100 yards away, right? And running back and forth in the woods so people see something running on two legs. I think it's very possible. And we were talking about the similarities between this and the UFO community. We've seen stuff like that. We've got Dr. Stephen Greer using flares to hoax UFOs. We've got James Gilead is being accused of hoaxing UFO experiences. And again, in both those situations, people pay money and they're hoping to have that UFO experience. In Todd Standing's case, people are paying this money and they're hoping to have a Bigfoot experience.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll tell you, what researchers in America are going to, go to Canada to try to hang out with Todd Standing? It's just,
I know. Yeah.
I think he would invite me, though. I'll tell you why. This part, hopefully he doesn't hear this.
No, he's not going to hear this until we're going to make sure that you contact him, or we try to get this going before this airs. Remember, this is pre-recorded, not live, so he's not going to hear any of this.
Well, here's the thing:
until it's too late. It'll be too late by the time he hears that we were, hatching a plot to catch him.
Back in the day when I was, a fan of Fade to Black, and I was getting into the Bigfoot thing, I would occasionally call Jimmy and say, "Man, you got to get this guy on your show. This is a great story." And sometimes he would go for it, sometimes he wouldn't. It just depended. And I says, he goes, "Who do you know in Bigfoot? Who can you get me for Bigfoot?" So I named a couple people, and then I named Todd Standing. He goes, yeah, I want to talk to Todd Standing. Can you get Todd Standing on my show?
Jimmy Church is all in on this shit, probably. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, actually, this will be interesting. This is interesting, this conversation. So anyway, so I got a hold. I got Standing to friend me on Facebook, and finally, it took a long time. It wasn't like he just instantly accepted my request. It might have been like a month and a half before he accepted my friendship request. And then I had a little chat with him. I kept it real simple, basic. I didn't come across like a fanboy or a skeptic or anything. I says, yeah, I'd really like to get you on Fade to Black and hear your story. And you're gonna laugh at this. He didn't even know who Jimmy Church was.
Well, most people don't. I think, maybe.
Well, Jimmy thinks that everybody knows him. That's what was funny, because Jimmy
he's a legend
told me
in his own mind, Eric.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
So Jimmy, I go, did you get a hold of Standing? He goes, yeah. I go, is he going to be on the show? He goes, yeah, I got him booked. I go, well, what, how'd it go? And he goes, well, I don't know. He goes, the guy doesn't even know who I am. You could tell his ego was fucking crushed by that. He wasn't, you know what I mean? He was almost like not interested in interviewing Todd Standing after he realized that Standing didn't even know who he was, because Standing wasn't impressed with him. He kind of lost his interest in it. You know what I'm saying? It was weird. It was kind of weird. But anyway, but he did have him on the show, and you might, if you feel like it, go listen to that interview. It was a good interview.
I'm gonna check it out. Yeah, we maybe could
because Jimmy didn't just lay down for the guy. I mean, he did try to give him some tough questions. He gave him some tough questions.
Some tough questions. Amazing. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Amazing, huh? At the end, I called Jimmy like a day or two later, and I said, "So, what do you think?" And he goes, basically, we both agreed that we thought he was full of shit. You know, that was his opinion too, which was interesting.
For once, I might agree with that guy.
Yeah.
So I guess the next step is I'm going to ask you. We'll talk off air, but we're going to try to set up to see if you can get closer to this guy, or maybe go on one of his hikes with him or something, and that would be awesome, because then we'll get to see first. I want to know how much it costs to go on this stuff with him.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to some people. He claims everybody's having these Bigfoot experiences. He should be able to give us a list of people we could interview about their Bigfoot experiences that they had by paying him, right? I would think so.
Well, I'm going to guess that he's kind of like, he does the same thing that like Wilcock and Good do, where they kind of, they block you from really doing a thorough investigation. They kind of control things in their own little strange way, like Corey did in the beginning, when he had the only person that he would interview with was Teresa Llaneros.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So now
the situation,
he kind of controls the whole thing that way, and I think Todd's kind of doing the same thing. Anyway.
Well, let me ask you another question, because I want your opinion on this. To be completely and totally fair, I think I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this entire production video on this, and then I'm going to send it to him, and I'm going to ask him to do an interview to end it. I think that's fair, right? I could say, here's what all the experts that I got said about your footage. This is what everybody thinks. Now I'd like to talk to you personally, and we can talk about this. I think that's the fairest way to do it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now, and you leave this on the air. Okay, you leave this on your show. I will send you $500 if he agrees to do an interview with you. Well,
there you go. Well, I could offer to give it to him, and then he'll probably be more likely to do it.
I think he's going to sidestep you. Not because.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'll give you $500 because there's no way he'll do that, Steve. Especially.
I don't think he'll do it, but I'll tell you. But if you could convince him to do it, I mean, if you could get him to do it,
I'll
be
reach
shocked.
out. I will. Listen. I have never been afraid to ask. You know, there are some people that I never thought I would get to talk to, but I said I'm going to ask him and see what happens. And you'd be surprised how many people say, yeah. You know, if he doesn't know who certain people in this thing are already, then chances are he doesn't know about me or whatever. and may not have the time to research me thoroughly. I don't know. There's a lot of variables, but I will ask him. I give you my word, I will ask him.
To be honest with you, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to try to like if I were a hoaxer and I was trying to maintain my my scam, let's just say, and somebody like you contacted me, trust me, I would vet you and I would try to figure out if this is a good idea, and then I would realize if, it's not a good idea because you're just going to blow my cover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think might happen. But luckily, maybe he won't connect the dots between you and me, and you'll be able to get in there and get the job done. That's my hope for this. So
I might have to wait. Either I got to think about this. Either I should go at it right away, or I should wait maybe a few months and then contact him. So let some time go by. Where maybe
we'll talk about it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, I definitely appreciate you doing this. And your participation is much needed to get to the bottom of this. That's why I brought you in, because I figured you could be tremendous help to get to the truth of this thing.